And it's another one of those, just like, imagine if this had happened before Ben.
Yeah.
Because then I'd be obsessed with it. But then I had to stop because I got to play video games all the time.
Magic of the boy.
Now, speaking of playing video games with the boy, let me tell you about my boy, Andy Cortez. That's right. We sent Andy Cortez down to play a video game, and now Andy's here to talk about it. Andy! This is the moment, Andy!
My boy.
You know Andy Cortez. He's everybody's boy. He's doing his thing out there. He's living the life out there.
Oh, man.
I yelled for him. I don't know. He came in and said, "I'm here,"
Yeah,
and then he's not here. You know what I mean? Like
He's probably in the
There he is.
Andy
He's
Cortez,
coming.
everybody.
Wow. Look at that little walk.
Andy. Hello, Andy Cortez.
There he is.
It's Andy Cortez. He's here to say, hey. Andy Cortez is here to say, hey.
Hey.
Andy Cortez is here to say, boom, 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 boom. Andy Cortez, we sent you down to lovely L.A., Los Angeles, to play the one, the only Lies of P DLC. Tell me all about it. Oh, you got a notebook.
Took some notes.
Did they give you this notebook?
No, the Zelda one.
Oh.
Yeah.
You have little drawings and doodles in there.
Oh yeah. Do some weapons, things like that. It's the map of Hyrule on
That's
the other
really,
side.
really sick.
Really
I
happy
didn't
about
see
it.
it up close last time.
It was we went to LA, me and Blessing. We got to go to the Lies of P DLC event, Overture. And they said, here's the thing about Overture. $30. And they just moved on to tell us more stuff.
Oh, okay.
And everybody in the room was like, what about the date? What about when's the date?
Yeah.
Still no date.
Oh.
Still no date.
Still no date. Summer 2025.
Okay.
You think this is an SGF thing?
I think it may be I think it may be a freaking like just random drop.
Oh,
Possibly.
Shadow? Really?
I mean that's just a prediction. Could be.
I'm
I
gonna
have
get
no
you a
idea.
chair. You keep talking.
No.
There's always B-roll. There's always B-roll. I want you to sit and be comfortable.
No, dude, I'm trust me, Greg. You stay right there. You stay right there.
Put your keister in there.
I like your little T. Got your little T right there. Okay, so Lies of P DLC. It is a little bit of a Dark Souls 1 sort of thing where you go back in time. And something happens, you go back in time and you awaken and your little homie Jiminy Cricket. Gemini's like, but Krat Zoo didn't exist back then. Krat Zoo's already destroyed. How is it put back in? And it's really, and you're like, well, where are we right now? But I think the setting for this first level is super cool and fascinating and creative because you're going through the Krat Zoo and you're just going through a zoo with different exhibits.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
And here's where the gorillas may be, and here's where the rhinos are, whatever. And yeah, it was a big collab. But you're seeing them all mutated and everything, and you're fighting a lot of cool enemies out there. It was the preview event was sort of split into two sections. You would sit down and say, all right, play the video game, play the DLC from this first level, just go explore, play it like you would play Lies of P. And then the other people on the other side of the room, you're playing 3 bosses. I think the coolest thing that they are introducing is difficulty modes. The standard mode will be, I believe, like difficulty 2. There will be an easier difficulty below it, and then they will go even more extreme if you want more of a challenge.
The Andys of the world.
Well, for the challenge runners, honestly, because I think the game's plenty hard as it is. But for the challenge runners, I think there's been such an awesome...
the true sickos out there.
There's been a really awesome economy with like a lot of great speedrunners who play through a lot of bosses. This is one of the first bosses that you will encounter in the zoo, and let me tell you, Tim.
Yeah,
I beat this boss, ran through, got to the end of the level, went into another boss room, and nothing happened. And it was actually the same boss room of another boss that we fought earlier on the other side of the room. In group 1, I started off in group 1 where it's you just do the boss rushes. You play up to 3 bosses with 5 difficulty levels. You start, it starts off at 3, and then you can, maybe you want to see all the bosses, drop it to difficulty 2, maybe down to 1 or whatever. I didn't do that because I lost track of time. And then by the time
you were lost in the sauce.
As I was beating
How long did you have with it?
1 hour on each side.
Okay.
So it was like 1 hour with the boss rush, 1 hour with this sort of section that you're watching right now in the video where you're just kind of walking through Krat Zoo. That weapon kicks so much ass. The pinwheel weapon, it charges by running, so it gets stronger as you kind of start to sprint. On the top left corner, you see like a little Roman numeral 3 right now.
Yeah.
If you run a bit more, it sort of like speeds up and becomes a number 4 and gets stronger. It rocked. The weapon choices are great. I wish we had more time with the exploration section of it, because I think one of the things that really sets Lies of P apart from a lot of other Souls-likes is not only that it's real good, but the weapon experimentation, because so much of Lies of P is, well, I love the handle on this weapon and I love the stats, but the blade isn't really what I'm looking for. Let me disassemble this other weapon, take that blade, put it on this, and you kind of like have a lot of player agency there, sort of creating the weapon that you want.
Cool. That's cool.
And I love that about it. There just wasn't enough time to sort of like look into the systems there, because there's a lot of new weapons, a lot of cool looking things. The pinwheel weapon, like I mentioned earlier, I did end up using a weapon that it's called a Lorenzini bolt blade, and it's like a little stabbing kind of like a long range little poker thing. But as I was running with the weapon, the lead director of the game walked behind me and was like, "When you're running, hold right trigger." And so I'm running and I hold right trigger.
Stay the fuck out of my business. Let me play the game.
And suddenly it boosts like crazy. This fucking weapon like shoots out like fire from behind, and I'm sprinting through the level crazy fast. It was awesome. It was really, really damn cool. And by the time I got to the end of the zoo level, I walked into what I thought would be a new boss arena, and there was already a bonfire there, as if the boss had been completed. And they had to walk up to me. They were like, "You're the only one who's gotten this far."
Whoa,
God damn. Come
Andy
on.
Cortez,
Come on.
everybody.
Tamor Hussein in the corner sucking his thumb, can't even fucking play
They're
the
like,
game.
"Yeah, here it is, right here, Barry." They're like, "There's actually no more demo here. You're done."
Wow.
So and I was like, "Fucking gamer," you know what I mean? But the other 3 bosses on the other side of the room that you end up getting to fight are super fascinating and really cool and challenging. One of the first bosses you fight, her name is like Markiona, and she had a puppet flying thing. I don't know if you saw it in the B-roll, Barrett, where she has it like on a leash, and it kind of flies around and attacks you. When the leash is red, the puppet's attacking you. So you know, like, oh, she turned the leash red. It's bright red with like red electricity.
Okay.
I got to defend against the puppet, and then it turns blue. You know, like, oh, now the puppet's going to back away, and she's going to attack me now. So the difficulty really started ramping up. It was really, really tough on the first difficulty.
This episode is sponsored by Subway Surfers, the goated endless runner that carried me through middle school, high school, college, and now adulthood is celebrating their 13th birthday, which also marks their 200th World Tour update. And they're going big, because Subway Surfers decided to travel to not 1, not 2, but 21 different locations in their 200th World Tour special event. As Kinda Funny's resident Zoomer, I can seriously say that I adore Subway Surfers. It's one of my favorite comfort games. Grabbing items, completing challenges, and pulling out a hoverboard right as I'm about to hit a train feels just as good now as it did when I was sitting in the back of Mr. Coburn's Spanish class. Play through all 21 destinations to unlock amazing rewards such as characters, hoverboards, and in-game currency. Just tap the 200th World Tour button on the screen to start playing. And exclusively for best friends, head over to kindafunny.com/subwaysurfers or scan the QR code on screen to get a ton of special in-game rewards. The update ends on June 1st, so scan that QR code, download Subway Surfers, and start running if you don't want to miss out on all the rewards. I already did. This episode is brought to you by Factor. When life gets busy, food can sometimes feel like a chore, and the fast food trips can go from a weekly to daily occurrence very fast. So buck those trends and make this season your best with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. We at Kinda Funny love Factor meals. Les and Greg love it for a quick lunch in between shows, and I adore it as a healthier alternative instead of the dreaded hump day, too tired to cook, drive-through run, helping me to get on track with my goals. Get started at factormeals.com/kindafunny50off and use code kindafunny50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code kindafunny50off at factormeals.com/kindafunny50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/kindafunny50off.
Also, to everybody at NeoWiz at round 8. No back paddles.
Almost like I predicted.
I-
Why we shouldn't give ourselves to these things that won't always be there for us. Thank you.
I got
Just
an
like I
apo-
predicted PS stars. Thank you.
I did get an apology from one of the PR people. He will remain nameless because I don't want to
Danny.
put his business out there. It's close.
Let's call him Daddy. Yeah.
And he was like, "Sorry, no back paddles for you." I was like,
Dang.
"It's unfortunate, you know what I mean?" But I had to, real gamers
Still
overcome.
won. Yeah.
The real gamers tell their bodies not today, regardless of how injured
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
There's some awesome new weapon arts with the game where, on your left arm as Pinocchio, you have these abilities that are kind of like, you can either shoot a rocket, or you could grapple enemies towards you, or you could grapple towards enemies, or if you choose another arm, it will put a bomb in the ground and set off like a little proximity mine or whatever. There's a lot of different gadgetry you have on your left sort of. Oh, here's a little rocket boost. So cool.
Oh man.
And the one that I really, really dug is the one that's equipped right now. It's called Icarus, and it shoots blades that just kind of like they shoot out of the arm, and they just rotate in a singular spot, and they do a buttload of damage to enemies, and it sounds great,
That's
and
awesome.
the feedback is fantastic. The boss fights were really super cool, super engaging. I got to the end of the second one right as I ran out of time. I didn't get to see the third boss, but I was like, bless, fight the third boss first because I didn't get to it. And I probably should have. The smarter way to do it was like, no, all the smarter players are like, let's drop down to difficulty 1 or 2 just to see all of them. You know what I mean?
Screw that. You're
The
there
two
to talk-
notes here that I have questions about.
Sure.
Kangaroo and weird elephants.
Yeah. Oh, the kangaroos. Well, it made me laugh a lot thinking about Blessings.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
that Stranding preview about killing kangaroos because you go into the kangaroo section, you just have these dudes that are just punching your fucking head. Yeah, it was crazy. And like here they are. Like they get aggressive. They roll at you. They punch the shit out of you. But yeah, the parries feel fantastic. I'm so glad that I had just restarted a second playthrough for Lies of P to kind of get that rhythm going, and I felt a lot better because of it. But it still shows why they are the gold standard for if you want to make a FromSoft style game but still put your own flavor on it. They are still the best to have done it, and I think they're still the best doing it. This DLC looks to be shaping up to be really, really awesome, and I have it on my fantasy critic, so
Nice.
hopefully an 85.
Okay.
That's what I'm hoping for.
This is, I think, a question that I would hope that is just going to be as good as it was in the base game, but it is super chat here before you go. Tyler Wallace says, "Hey Andy, how is the combat in the Lies of P DLC? Is it just more of the same? Feels as good? What do we?"
Feels just as good. And a lot of that depends on the weapons that you're using, but they also introduced a brand new bow and arrow, which is pretty awesome. Reminds me of getting this new bow and arrow class in Elden Ring Night Rain when they showed out that trailer a couple weeks ago, where bow and arrows rarely feel good in From Software games, and then seeing this trailer first drop with the Lies of P Overture DLC and seeing him use an arrow, it's like, ooh, was that just a cutscene or is that something we can equip? And you can equip a little bow, different cool weapon arts where, if you charge up your full power, then it does a even stronger thing. It'll shoot 3 bows or 3 arrows at that moment. Really, really fun. Still awesome. They have a weapon called the Pale Knight weapon, Tim. Very Final Fantasy. It's a bolt
Gunblade.
gun. Yeah, it's a gunblade. Yeah.
Sick.
The gunblade was so freaking cool. Had everything that you would want when it comes to like slash, boom, shoot. Like it really, really great movement. Awesome enemy types. Awesome level design. Still all of the trappings that you would hope to get from a From Software like game where you travel for 28 minutes and suddenly you see a door and you open it. It's like, oh shit, that's the first bonfire right on the other side of the door. Great level design. I'm super, super pumped. And it looks freaking great. Again, this is still Unreal Engine 4. I think it's like 4.6 or something. And it runs amazingly great and it feels efficient, but it looks still really, really damn good.
Without spoiling like what it actually is, does this at all have to do with the end of the first game?
No.
Okay.
That's what we're assuming is going to be sequel territory.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
like the next thing. Let's hop into other kind of open. I always fuck this word up. Open source, open domain, free domain. what's it called? Where
Oh,
IP public domain, yeah, where the IP is just like
you gave
anybody
me so
can.
much. I was like, oh, I know what he's going for, but I can't say it. I can't think of it.
That's we're assuming that the sequel, whenever they get to it, will get to that. But we had a nice little Q&A with the directors at the end, and the director was like, "Wish I had more time to continue working on this," and that's why I assume that we have no date. But I think a lot of these games have challenge with trying not to always up the stakes with just more difficulty, because it seems like every next game that comes out is harder, and sometimes developers think, well, harder is better. Like, that's the only way we can innovate, but you can still get really, really creative with move sets, and I think that they're proven so with what I experienced with the boss fights and with the different weapon types. Freaking awesome. Had a great time. Herman Lee was there.
Yeah,
I was going to
Myers.
say, Eric Myers in the super chat says, can you talk about why Herman Lee was there?
Herman Lee was there to play some like metal renditions of the Lies of P music as a little, in between when group 1 is done with their section and we have group 2 coming in later. It was, they had a little reception out there with food and things like that. But he played a guitar rendition of some of the songs from Lies of P. Also, one of the funnier moments, and you gotta love PR people trying to do the best and trying
Danny.
to goddamn Danny, trying to making these little appointments feel larger than life, and you get immersed into the world. And they did a lot of cool stuff where we're in some sort of kind of like mansion, and a couple of the different rooms are themed after different rooms that you would see in Lies of P. There was for the ball knowers out there, the Trinity room was recreated where you walk in and it's just like this little pedestal with a box and 3 chairs around it and a little safe in the corner. You're like, oh, I love shit like this.
Yeah, that's
kind
cool.
of
That's really
recreating
nice.
different things in the room. But then the funnier part was when Herman Lee is doing his final song, he is introducing and bringing up a singer to come join him on stage. And nothing was more you couldn't have comedically written it better of him going, so and so, I'm blanking on his name, was a 2013 5th place contestant on American Idol.
No.
And it was just like something about the date and the 5th
Why did
place.
he say it? Why did he say that?
It was awesome.
He was on American Idol. That's all you got to say.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious. But it was awesome seeing that. It was a great event, and can't freaking wait whenever this date happens. I got to assume it's going to be
Shadow dropping at SGF? Or?
either shadow dropping or that's when the date will be, and it'll be like, hey, in 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
They're still really stuck on the summer 2025. But yeah, this looks to be like a lot of content, a lot of awesome content for $30, and it's going to be 10 to 20 hours ish of content.
Awesome.
But really stoked for people out there who love Souls-likes and love action adventure games like this, but can't get into them because sometimes they are too hard. And Lies of P can hit you real roughly with some crazy difficulty checks, and to be able to drop the difficulty and have a bit of an easier way about it, I think is massive for the approachability side of things. So I hope people give this amazing Souls-like a try if you haven't, because I would put this above Demon Souls as like, it's still better than, part of some of what From Software has done themselves.
Hell yeah.
Game rocks.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andy. What a great preview.
Thank you.
Round of applause at home for Andy.
Hey,
everybody.
The boy.
Can you drag your chair out too?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. Believe it or not, we haven't even started the show, everybody, because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. There's literally like 6 feet he could have gone.
More than that,
Could have gone.